Greetings, Fae friends. I'm Fairy Princess Lily, and I'm so excited to welcome you all to the very first FAEry Academy workshop. In this series, we will be exploring the essence of fairy magic, also known as glamour, and we'll be taking a look at traditions, rites, lores, holidays, celebrations, spellcraft, and so much more. Our first workshop today is a Faery Glyph workshop, and I would invite you all to gather your supplies and join me as I demonstrate how to create and make your very own Faery Glyph, and then we learn how to activate it. Once we have created our Faery Glyphs, I'll then move on to doing an unboxing ceremony wherein I open the contents of a Faery Glyph kit, and from there I have a surprise contest for you all to enter. The only things that you will need for today's activity are a writing utensil of some sort and a piece of paper. I'll be using my Glamoury or Fairy Book of Shadows, if you will, but any piece of scrap paper or parchment will work just fine. Why don't we get started? This is my Glamoury, which is a Fairy Book of Secrets or Book of Shadows. And I'm just going to open this today to a unused page. And I have this spare parchment piece that I'm going to put behind here because I'm going to be scribbling and drawing. I've decided to use just a regular Sharpie pen for the purposes of this workshop, mostly because it will be much easier for you to see there at home the markings that I make. I'm sure that all of you are familiar with the idea of a symbol. It is basically some manner of shape or design that communicates an idea. The difference between a glyph and a symbol or a sigil, if you will, is that a glyph is a little more complicated, whereas a symbol represents usually a specific word or some short meaning. A glyph is a more complicated version of a symbol, and rather than communicating just a simple idea of a word, a glyph, of being complicated, will represent within itself a much more comprehensive idea. And that idea can be as personal or as broad and generic as you decide you want to make it. When I begin thinking about wanting to make a glyph, the first thing I do is pick a word. Wisdom. And it's kind of been bumping around up there in my cranium for a couple of days. Once I have my word, I begin to think about what things do I relate to this word, sort of in a brainstorming fashion. So once we have all of our words, etc., and we've let our mind wander a little bit about this, we want to think of the key phrase or the idea that the glyph is going to represent. They can be very specific or they can be much more open, but whatever it is that you choose, you're going to try to represent that all within your glyph. Now, as I was doing this, the phrase that came to my mind was, I see with the eyes of wisdom. I think this is going to be my phrase that I built with. I see with the eyes of wisdom. Now, I often use dots as a sort of punctuating point to represent a number of things. This looks like an owl to me. An owl is the animal totem. One of the things it symbolizes is wisdom, and I like this, so I'm going to go ahead and try a little owl again here. This final guy here, I see with the eyes of wisdom. That's what this glyph means. And all of those thoughts that we put into it that ran through our minds as we were working on it, all of those thoughts have built in to this. We're using our eyes to see forward and backward through all of time and history. We're using our open eyes to see the perspectives of other people. And we're bringing that knowledge into ourselves. We are bringing in knowledge and learning. We're bringing in understanding, and we're bringing in ancient experiences. With our little mouth, this is how the things are spoken and passed on. But the goddess, of course, is grounded down here and reaching up to the sky here and bringing in all of these things from the past right into her center, right into the core, and then she's putting them back out into the world. So she is letting the knowledge come into her and pass through her and then passing it on again to somebody else. I really love how I see with the eyes of wisdom. I love how this glyph has turned out. And now that we are done, then we can move on to the next phase of today's workshop. The next part of our Faery Glyph workshop is the unboxing. And always when I begin something new, I like to light a little candle here in order to signify the beginning of a process. So an unboxing is where we get a package. Usually people order these packages and they open the package and they explore the contents with those who are viewing at home. So this is my own personal box, and I'm just going to open it up. Inside of it are the contents that you would get in a Faery Glyph package if you were to get one from my magic store. The first thing that you get is this scroll. We'll open this scroll up and we'll see what's inside. We want to be careful because the corners of it are quite fancy. And this scroll is for the dream glyph that I have made. So this is the glyph that we are going to learn how to activate today. The second thing that we find inside of here is this stylus, and then at the end of this here is actually covered with some very nice glass little beads, and then it's wrapped in this opalescent, iridescent, magical ribbon. The next thing that we have in here is our tracing glyph. This is what we will be using though to activate the dream glyph this afternoon. And then we have these pieces of silver foil that have been nicely trimmed along the edges. And last but not least, this tiny little bottle that we can use for the activation of our glyph. So let's get started. I've set down this quilted piece because it provides some pliancy. So the first thing that we're going to do is take a piece of our foil. We place the foil down first on top of this pliant surface, and then we'll take our tracing glyph and we'll just set it right over the top here. We will take the stylus next, and then what you want to do is you want to start tracing your glyph, and you want to put a fair amount of pressure on here, but not so much that it just pokes right through. Here is the finished glyph. I'm just going to go over it because I know right here should be a little bit of a swoopy line. And you can kind of, hopefully you can see. I'll turn it over just in case, but I suspect the reflection will be too much. Now that I have my glyph, my main glyph, I can put anything else on here that I would like to. We'll open the dreams to me. In order to activate this now, since it's foil, and this is why I like foil, we can do so many different things with it. Instead of burning it in the flame, your glyph kit would come with this little bottle, and you can take, well, I'll just pull a little piece off of here so that you can see what I mean, but you would be able to take your Faery Glyph, fold it up nice and small. We are making it so this is putting our will into our subconscious, putting it into motion. And you might put yours right into that little bottle like that. For myself, I think I will activate mine in a little bit of a different way. I'm going to take this lapis, a very mystical stone. I'm going to crinkle this intention around that mystical lapis lazuli, and I'm just going to put that right into my fairy offering bowl. And I will take this my little acorn of the fairy dust, and I will give it a little sprinkle. And with that, we shall consider this glyph invoked. And now we come to the most exciting part of today's workshop. If you would like to win the Faery Glyph kit that we use, then all you have to do is go to the comments section of this video below and leave one word for a new glyph that you would like me to create in the future. In 1 week, I will draw a random winner from everybody who has responded and announce them on our website. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe to Fantasy Arts and Entertainment on YouTube. And also, you can fly over to Patreon, where as little as $2 a month will go a very long way to help support the continued creation of more videos like this. Don't forget, you can always follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. All the links we will put into the section below. And we hope to see you next time.